this is Coach Hall, and welcome to, we're not going to call it the Monday motivational meeting anymore. In fact, a wonderful idea was presented to me at the end of last year by Sonya, and she suggested that in this group we got to start doing some how to implement ACT into your life. And I've been thinking about this since she made that suggestion over the last few weeks, and I've been bouncing around some ideas, and I decided that, you know what, yes, I do offer a number of courses, and ACT seems to be a part of just about everything that I do. In fact, everything I teach kind of interacts with everything else that I do. And so, yeah, let's do that. How can we implement ACT into our life? And so we are now going to call this Monday motivational meeting. We're going to call it Activating Your Life. Activate it. We're going to teach you how to put ACT into your life. So you're going to be seeing a lot of this framework. So those of you that are taking either the beginner to advance or the advanced and complete mastery course of ACT, you're going to be able to jump right in and absorb this, and really this is going to help cement what you're learning right now. If you're taking 6FEM, some 6FEM is associated with, if you're into the optimal happy life coaching and practicing, this we'll work with you on that too. But everything that we do is A to B. You're going to want to be a part of putting ACT into your life if you are taking the optimal happy life practitioner and coaching course, because really these are different motives of getting to what it is that we want, the A to B in life. It's all about that, and that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to help you, give you more specific ideas on what it is that you can do so that you can implement and start activating your life, activating this process, this A to B process, determining what it is that you want, your B point, where you're at right now in life, and the two is the how to get there and what it is that you got to do every day, that committed action that you must take each and every day. It's January 10th, 2022. We've had some growth in the group. That's fantastic. Welcome to all the new members. We're at 78 people now, so we had a little dip there, I think, at the end of the summer, and now our group is growing great again, and that's exciting news for me. It's exciting news for you. Now all we need is for some participation, and hopefully what we're going to be doing on Mondays and maybe several other times through the week. I have to figure out what my schedule is going to look like. I also got to figure out how I can get more content out to you guys, because I'm kind of in a limbo situation when it comes to where my office is going to be in the future. So some things are still up in the air. We haven't ironed out all the details on that. So right now I can only really commit to the 1 day a week of getting in front of you guys at this point. But you're always free to send a message in the group, contact me in the messenger, that function that's on Facebook, or you just drop me a line at starfamilycoaching@gmail.com and say, hey coach, I want to talk to you privately if that's okay, and if my schedule's available, I will definitely make myself available to you, and we can jump on a chat at some point and have a little conversation and help you with whatever it is that you need me to help you with. Okay, so let's jump into what we're going to be doing here. I got to play with my screen a little bit just so I can remember where I am. Again, I want to really thank Sonya, not only for her suggestion, but her continuous input. Each and every day she puts up something that's very positive and very motivational for each and every one of us. And if you haven't taken the time to read the posts, you should. They're very much in line with what we're doing, and I promote that sort of thing. That's big. Some of the other members periodically post things or react to what we're doing, and you're free to do that. I want you to participate in the group. Just it's not about self-promoting, it's about promoting each and every one of us. If you've got something that's a little bit different than what I'm doing, just contact me and I'll let you know if, yeah, that's going to work out. Probably it will. Most of the time, these things are going to help me and they're going to help you, because that's what really I'm trying to accomplish here. Learning to launching to earning is about taking what you do, implementing some things that you're learning in the classes, creating the unique version of you, helping you launch this new you, and helping you earn whatever it is you want to earn in life. It might just be you're learning, you want to earn some respect, you want to earn your place in society, or maybe you're trying to make it some income. I don't know what it is that you want to do, but you're free to share that information here in the group, and that's what this group's here. It's a group support system. If you're in the middle of a course right now, having some trouble understanding some of the information, and most of us will, because when we learn new information, it's not always easy, and if we're programmed to operate a certain way, which we all are, we grow up with a programming that is taught to us from infancy upwards to wherever you are right now, whatever age you are. That's the way you operate. And what we have to do basically is relearn some things and change our programming, and that's not an easy thing to do. It's easier to teach a clean slate than it is to take somebody that's already doing something a certain way, which is most of us, all of us basically, and then saying, okay, I can't really do that anymore because it's not being very effective for me. I'm not doing such a good job with my life. That's why I'm taking courses like this to change my life for the better. And that process of taking an old habit and changing it into a new habit is very difficult, and you need all the support and help that you can get. Okay, and that's what we're here for. So we want to help each other out, pump each other up, get each other excited, and help each other with the learning process, help each other with the launching process, and help each other with the earning process, if you care to do that. But that's what this group is all for, okay? So this segment is now going to be called Activating Your Life. So we're going to be putting ACT into your life. Acceptance, commitment, and I call it techniques or training, depending on where you're at. If you just want to implement some techniques as a practitioner, or perfect some techniques so you can help other people, we can do that. And there's an opportunity here in this group. All you got to do is ask for it. Say, hey, I'd like to get some training in that, and we can set up in one of the rooms. We have that a capability here in the group to set up a room where I can jump in, maybe a couple other people can jump in, and we can do some training. We'll just do some role playing. We'll go back and forth. You can rattle off all the questions you want as if I'm your client, and you want to make sure that you feel comfortable with the types of questions, get some feedback. Everybody wants that kind of stuff, right? If you're not accustomed to having a client in front of you, the first time you do it, you're going to probably be more nervous than the client will be, and that's perfectly understandable. So let's get some of the training done here. We can do that, and I'm here to support and help you in any way I can, and hopefully we can get some other people in the group. And this is just another way of helping us retain the information so that we can utilize the information and help ourselves and help other people. Okay, so with ACT, this is the ACT framework that if you're taking ACT, you'll recognize this framework here. But we're also going to be implementing 6FEM, the Optimal Happy Life Practitioner and Coaching Program, as well as Optimal Parenting. A big portion of what I do is really about parenting. The reason I started this whole group is because ultimately I want to teach parents this stuff so they can teach it to their kids. Wouldn't that be nice if we, instead of growing up with the programming that we're all accustomed to, that's sending us all to therapy later on in life, or getting us addicted to things and all this stuff that we didn't learn. Like, there are no parenting universities out there. Parents don't learn how to teach their children the things that they don't know themselves. Remember, one of the presuppositions of NLP, if you've taken NLP, is you only know what you know, or you don't know what you don't know. And I'm a big proponent of that as well. If you're in my Happy Life course, if you take my Happy Life course, you know that's one of my keys. I borrow that principle or that supposition because it's a truth. It's a universal truth. You don't know what you don't know, and you only know what you know. But that doesn't mean that you know everything, and it doesn't mean you don't know anything. It means you know something, and it's what you know, right? But if we want to be optimal in our lives, if we want to be great parents, if we want to be able to have the most success possible in our lives, we need some new information. We need successful types of information that will help us be successful in life. And that's what we are attempting to do here, help you reprogram yourself by utilizing these things that I teach in all of the different courses. And I think the one that we need to focus on, primarily because I believe most of the members that have joined come from the ACT course, but ACT is such an incremental part of 6FEM. It's a part of even my Cognition Tower. Cognition Tower really is a tool that I would use as an ACT coach, if you will. If I wanted to be a life coach, I would be using ACT as my primary system, modality, if you will. And then I would plug in probably a framework like SMART or some other life coaching framework to help us get from A to B, if you will. And of course, there are some things that we need to work on when it comes to diffusion. And in that area, that's where the Cognition Tower can really help. And it helps also with the acceptance part. So I've got a number of tools. The NLP 2.0 Supercharge is really to help those folks out there that have already become NLP coaches. And that's probably the most popular coaching program I know in the Udemy world. And I could coach it myself, but I've decided I've got friends that are teaching that. I don't need to compete against them. I don't want to compete against them. And you can learn it from my friends. But if you want to take it to the next level, CTME is the way to go. Now, I might change my mind on these things. I might decide, you know what, I'm going to teach NLP in my own special way, and that's something I've been considering. It might happen later this year, but one thing that will happen later this year, I am going to create a couple of courses. I'm going to create a course that will help a number of students that have contacted me and said, you've mentioned SMART, you've mentioned T-Grow, can you give me more information about that? And I've done a lot of research on the different models that are out there, and I can't believe how many different coaching models out there. And I haven't seen other programs out there talking about the variety of models that are out there. And so I want to coach a life coaching or teach a life coaching course that illustrates and shows you how to use a whole bunch of different modalities that are out there. It's basically all the same stuff, folks. T-Grow and SMART and RISE and FIRE and RATE and many of the other ones that I'll teach in this course that's yet to come. It's the same thing. It's just different words, different acronyms, maybe a little bit different of a sequence in an order, but it's basically A to B. Everything is A to B. But if you are a life coach out there and everybody in the world or everybody in your little sector of the world that you're helping out have been exposed to SMART and for some reason it's just not working, you might want to try a different modality, or maybe you just want to introduce yourself as a life coach. It's different. It's not using the SMART method or the T-Grow method. So that's why I decided, you know what, I'm all about uniqueness. I'm all about, helping people, become the butterfly, within, show off. I want you to show off who you are. Be the unique you that you can be. You don't have to be a carbon copy of anybody else. Just be you. And sometimes what we do is we take little bits and pieces of different things and we create our own formula, and that's what we present to the world. And that's exactly what a number of people will be interested in doing. And those will be the people that you can help because for whatever reason the other methods aren't working as well for them. Sometimes I can tell a story and it sinks in. Sometimes it doesn't. Somebody else can tell the same story but just a little bit different manner, and it's completely understood. And that's just the way life is. You're going to make connections with certain people some of the time, but you can't make connections with everybody all the time. Okay? And so with that understanding, you can find your own unique formula to attract and teach and help people that you want to help. Okay, so that's what we're going to be working on in the coming months. I'm going to give you a little bit of a head start right now, because what we're going to do is we're going to look at this client-coach relationship. And even if you don't have a client, this is a relationship you would have with yourself when you decide that I'm going to implement ACT in my life. I just don't know where to go. I don't know how to start. What should I do first, Coach Hall? Well, this is what you do. You literally get a mirror out and look in the mirror and practice how you're going to look when you're speaking to yourself, right? How do you want to speak to yourself? How do you want to present yourself to you? You got to be with you all the time. Why can't you bring your best self at all times? And your best self doesn't necessarily mean you got to be smiling all the time. Your best self is just being your authentic self. Sometimes we feel like crying. So why are we resisting the urge to cry? Cry, man. If you got to cry, let it out. Let it go. That's part of the acceptance process. Accepting our feelings. If we're angry, feel the anger. That doesn't mean go out and beat up a bunch of people and break things. It just means accept the fact that you're feeling really angry right now. Okay? Now, what you do with it, that's a behavior. That's what we got to work on. But it's okay to have the emotion. It's always okay to have the emotion, because that's the part we want to accept. So when we get into this trying to self-help thing, the line of questions that we teach in the courses basically starts with this first question. What do you want? So there you are looking in the mirror. You're going to self-help yourself, right? You want to make yourself the best version of you. You're like, where do I begin? I would begin with this first question. What do you want? What do you want? I would go out and I would grab myself a piece of paper at bare minimum, and better, I would go out and get myself a little notebook and call it my ACT journal or my life journal. You call it whatever you want to call it, but this is going to be a place that you can literally take pen to paper or pencil to paper and write it out, or use a board like this. This is my active, if you will, my activating process. Things come in my head, I just start scribbling things down. This thing has been wiped down a million times already, because I get an idea and I go, okay, that's good. And then I step away from it, I reflect on it for a while, come back to it, and probably 8 out of 10 times I go, wow, that ain't going anywhere. That thought's not going to go anyplace. But it felt good getting it out. And it sort of gets it out to the universe and allows the universe to deal with it, right? And the universe will then send me signals to let me know if I should build on that or if I should just scrap that, okay? What I like, I then transfer to kind of a PowerPoint thing. I use, what's this thing called? I forgot the name of the program I'm on, but it's the Apple version of PowerPoint. And so I just start writing out what it is that was originally here. Okay, so I quickly go from here to here. I got a whole bunch of, look, I want to show you guys. Got a whole box of black markers because I'm constantly writing here. So write my ideas here. If they're good, they seem like something I'm going to build upon, then I'll transfer it to a computer program. Now you can go old school if you want. Just take a pen to paper, pencil to paper, use a notepad. I used to do that back in the day before we got old fancy and stuff. You know, I'm pre-computer. I'm an old guy. We used to just do things on notepads. And some of it, you know, you tear up, toss in the trash. Others you go, oh, that's pretty good. I'm going to build on that. So this is what you need to do. As an ACT coach, as somebody that wants to be a practitioner, you got to document this process. You need to start writing things down. It helps your mind because you can only hold so many thoughts at any particular point in time. You can only focus on a couple things at a time. And you can only focus efficiently at your best on one thing at a time. So knowing that if you want to be your best and you want it to be 100%, it's one thought at a time. And so when the next thought comes, what are you going to do with this thought that's so great that you want to spend 100% on? You need to put it out somewhere that you can retrieve it later. And this is the process. So your very first step is to go out and figure out how you're going to transfer the thought that's in your head into a place that you can look at later and retrieve it later. Because your brain can hold a lot of information, and you can multitask, but you're not going to be as effective multitasking as you would be focusing on one thing. And if you really want to be your best and do your best and be most efficient with your time, you want to work on one element of your life at a time. So when you ask that question, what do you want? Whatever thoughts start popping in your head, one thought's going to replace the next thoug's going to replace the next thought. Don't allow that process to continue. Start writing these thoughts down, okay? And use a whiteboard, sheet of paper, notebook, whatever. Thought. This is what I want. I want that. I want this. I want it. If nothing comes to mind, that's fine too. Just sit a while. Let it known to yourself and the universe. Say it out loud. What do I want? Right? And wait until suddenly the ideas pop in. And when they do, have that paper handy and write these things down. Now, if it's still a struggle because you're just more negative minded right now because of the environment we've been in, and a lot of us are, we're just tend to be more negative right now. What is it that you don't want? Maybe that's an easier way to get to the answer. And that's usually my second question. But it's basically to help round out the first question. What do you want? Sometimes we don't know what we want right away, so we just go with, what don't I want? What is it that I don't want happening anymore? I'm tired of this going on in my life. I don't want that anymore in my life. Write that down, okay? And then once you get that, try to figure out what the opposite of that would look like. I don't want to be angry all the time. I'm tired of being angry all the time. Okay, so what would the opposite of that be? I would like to be happy. I'd rather be happy most of the time. Okay, so now we are looking at primarily emotional goals. Okay, because at the end of the day, the action that we do is going to lead to an emotion. And we often think that way. And this is why we get addicted to things oftentimes. We don't like the way we feel. We can change the way we feel real quickly by taking some drugs or some alcohol or having sex or whatever it is that we start to do to make us feel better, all chemically done externally, internally. However, this is an emotional goal. And that's okay from time to time, but if this becomes the pattern, it becomes a habitual process for you, it could be problematic, right? And so what we have to do is recognize that connection, the connection between our behavior and our emotions. And when we start doing things to make us feel better, such as exercise or laughing or singing, these are activities that you can do. Suddenly the chemistry changes and suddenly you're feeling better. Okay, so what we want to do is look at what we want. This is the first process in this series. What we're going to do is just look at what we want. I want you to write it down. Write down what you want. Okay, this is the first step. This is the first step you would take with your. This is the first step you would take with your clients. This should be the first step you take for yourself. And then what we're going to do later on, and if you want to get a head start on next week, because this is what we're going to talk about next week, is we start working our way around this chart here. And even before we get into contact with the present moment and we start doing the breathing exercises and that sort of thing, I want you to start, since we're asking these questions of what we want to start looking at our values. Because oftentimes this first question, if we look at the pros and cons of asking this first question, if we don't know our values, then we probably really don't know what we want. And that's where it can get tricky. Sometimes this question can get you in trouble. Oh, I want this, but if it doesn't have anything to do with your values, then suddenly you start down the A to B path and you're going in the wrong direction. And you go through some very painful lessons in life. So what we want to do early on, since I want to get you there as fast as possible, I want you to journal what it is that you want. This is what I want, or what I don't want, and then flip it around so you know what it is that you want. And then we're going to start looking at our values. If we can look at our values, and this might not be an easy thing to do, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be easy. We can go this way or that way around this whole framework here. It doesn't matter, but I want to start on values because of the type of questions that we're asking. And I want you to understand that sometimes when we answer this question, the reason why you don't know what you want is because you don't have your values figured out yet. Okay, so let's start with this week. This week, journal what it is that you want, and if you get that done, you're pretty solid on knowing what you want. Then start looking at your values. What's important to you in your life? How do you want to represent yourself? When they chisel out your tombstone and it's got some words written on there, what are they going to be saying about you, right? That's what we want to be looking at, and we'll be doing that next week. Okay, so guys, I hope you're excited about what we're doing here. I hope this motivates you to get out there and do something, right? Last year we talked about motivation, and basically it was a lot of talking about this and talking about that. This year, let's get into action. Let's start activating our lives. Let's start doing what we need to do, using these principles that we teach in the different classes that I have. And we're going to focus on the ACT framework, and we want to help you activate your life in a positive way. All right? With that, I'm going to sign off, and if you have any questions, by all means, put some comments below. If you're a little bit shy, and that's okay, a lot of us are, you can contact me in Messenger and say, hey, I'm not sure what to do here first, coach, or where can I sign up for that class because I'm on a different class. Whatever the question might be, please feel comfortable enough to at least give me a little drop a line. I'm not going to bite your head off. I'm very easy to go, easy going. Everybody knows that knows me. If you don't know me, then you don't know that, right? You only know what you know. But with that, I wish you all a happy new year. It's 2022. We got future is bright, especially when you have a plan of action that you can utilize and you can execute. You have control over your life, and I'm going to show you how to do that in the coming weeks ahead by helping you activate your life. Okay? With that, guys, I want you to live long and prosper. Let me get my shades on. I do my shades. Live long and prosper. Okay? Go through life not with rose-colored glasses, but be cool and open your eyes and be open to all sorts of perspectives in life. But most importantly, share the love.